I've got one. So how strongly do you think sort of the online marketing and online media really is driving innovation in business these days?
I would say, I mean, from the internet and the statistics that we are constantly given by the likes of The Advertiser, realestate.com and those sorts of people, they are of the belief that upward of 50% of the people who buy property see it for the first time on the internet. And I would suggest that if that's the trend over the last probably really only 6 years, that social networking will continue at an unbelievably rapid rate to take up a lot of the balance of the other 50-40%.
All right. Any other questions? Yeah.
Just to say, you talk a lot about property marketing and communication. How much does actually property presentation play in terms of that mix?
I think from a sales point of view, it has to be the #1 priority, because no matter what we do in the background, if that presentation isn't right in the beginning, it's not going to flow through the way it should. I think, you know, that's the biggest part of getting your property on the market. And it doesn't matter what the property is, from the smallest little 1-bedroom unit to, you know, your $2 to $3 million property. It actually has to be presented right, because that's visual for most people is the way they, you know, they look at stuff straight up. So visually it's got to be right.
Visually, I'd agree, and also I think the trend for buyers at the moment in the main is that they don't want to spend any money once they've bought a property. They don't want to do anything else. They don't want to have to go back to the bank and borrow more money to do a renovation in general. So if it's done, and I think over the last probably year, up until then it was probably only anecdotal evidence that would suggest the correct presentation would get more money. I think we're seeing now real evidence that the correct presentation and having spent money on a property is actually generating a better result at the end of the day.
Any other questions?
We currently lease a warehouse in America. What's your view, given what's happening, the scuttlebutt around Adelaide at the moment is lots of people going to America to buy houses and stuff like that. What's your view on that?
I'll quote Anthony directly and say, go there. If you're going to buy something, go there and check it out yourself. Don't get on the internet and assume that by looking at a photo and seeing a cheap price that it's going to be a good buy. You need to do all the research that you do in Adelaide and have the understanding of, you know, if I'm buying a house in Norwood, where we are at the moment, I want to know that there's shopping nearby, that there are facilities, that the street's nice, that the house next door is not about to be invaded by squatters or whatever, which from what we understand is sometimes the case in some of those so-called bargains in America. Dave?
I've heard a lot about what I would consider sort of more physical innovations like the internet or cool signs and all that sort of stuff. One of the things that I know in our business makes the difference with our customers is actually the way that we communicate with them, and the way that how much we understand about how to communicate with human beings has changed a lot in the last 25 years. Have you guys done any direct innovating in relation to how you communicate with people?
I guess in our business, in real estate, it's all about communication, not only externally but certainly internally as well. From a consumer's point of view, they need to hear from us all the time. And we could use all the fancy technology in the world to communicate, like, you know, to cut down time. You can be SMSing, you can be emailing, but we try to bring it back to the basics of people want to hear your voice. They want to see you face to face. That's the biggest thing you can do. So we're very big on talking to people on the phone and sitting in your living room and having our quick chat with you in a face-to-face meeting, because technology just doesn't cut it when it comes to dealing with people. You can deal with very busy people and they'll cope with a quick SMS to let you know what's going on. But all of us, doesn't matter who you are and how busy you are, when it comes to dealing with your most prized possession, your property, is they want to see you. They want to be able to see your eyes when you're talking to them, or they want to hear your voice. And that's not rocket science. That's just basically That's how you deal with people. Yeah. Of course, we do online surveys and we do mail out surveys to ensure that we are keeping our business at the standard, because we have standards that are above standards. And you need to be doing that consistently, because you've got to check yourself all the time. And so we're consistently doing that with our client. You know, if you're on the market with us, we'll survey you 3 times within that time, because we want to hear from you. We don't want you to be afraid not to call us and go, well, this is not quite right, because that's okay with us. We need to know that. So we want to create the inbound call to us just as much as we want to be creating it out to you.
One of the biggest challenges we find in a fast growth company is developing and maintaining our internal corporate culture. Yes. And I was interested in how you do that here and how Anthony passes on his vision to the staff internally.
Sure. I guess it's consistently, once again, it is that face-to-face stuff. So for us, we are an independently owned company. We're not a franchise group, so we want to set ourselves apart from that to start with. We, from a sales perspective, so we'll start there, we catch up with our sales teams every week. We're forever communicating out with them what's going on in the marketplace, you know, what can we do to help you. But on a monthly basis, we meet with all our teams. So at this present moment, we've got 8 offices and 165 people, and once a month we have what we call our monthly awards. We get everybody in the room, we have a drink together and something to eat. We reward for people that have achieved within the month, right through from our receptionists through to our top salespeople. You can be, you know, if you've achieved really well in that month, you're rewarded for that. That gives Anthony a chance to be in front of everybody, and it also gives our team a chance to intermingle with one another, because when you are sitting in 8 offices, you won't see one another for a month. Salespeople are a little bit different just due to the nature of their business, but from our perspective and the way we keep the culture within the business is to communicate with our internal client, and to do that we bring them all together. We also, Anthony and myself, travel to the offices all the time. So we're out on the road looking and visiting our offices to ensure that they're okay. So we do it, you know, I go every 3 weeks. I have a sales manager that goes every week. So we're consistently getting out there and mingling with our staff. You can't do that sitting behind a desk. You actually have to be on the ground floor to work out what's going on with your staff. So when there are people that things are quite going wrong, you can get onto it as quickly as possible, because we're dealing with humans and things will go wrong, and not everybody's going to be happy every day. So you've got to try and put that in perspective and work with what you have. But from our point of view, we try and keep the energy going on that as well, and be available. So be available to your people. They need to know that you're in the trenches with them just as much as you're trying to run a business. And I think that's what keeps it going. You know, that availability, it's the real open door policy. We don't have hierarchy within our business. We run a very, very flat structure, and we can talk to anybody. You know, so if somebody wants to talk to Anthony, all they'll do is pick up the phone or come and visit him at his office. And if they want to talk to me, it's not like you've got to go through 1,000 people. You just walk in the door. So that you actually have to be very open to your people.